Fellow vets, the difference between a 90% VA rating and a 100% VA rating is massive. You're talking about as much income as getting a whole separate second job. So it's also no secret that it's the most challenging gap to fill because of the diminishing returns. I'm going to go over today how to make that jump from a 90% all the way up to a 100% VA rating, and as well as what is standing in your way in the terms of challenges and friction points and how to overcome them. I'm Jordan Anderson with VA Claims Academy. Pardon my cold, I can barely hear myself speak right now, but we're gonna get this information to you so that you can win the rating that you deserve. Let's get into it. I myself am a 100% permanent and total rated veteran, and essentially what I'm gonna be showing you today is exactly what I would do, through my own research, through my own experience, and helping out thousands of vets with their ratings. What I would do in 2024 if it was me at a 90% rating. So let's get right into it. I hope you get some value out of this. Hit the like button and share it with someone who needs it. Let's go straight to the board first because I want to break something down that's really important. We're going to talk about the VA math for a couple seconds here because really targeting and knowing how much of an increase you need is going to be everything. So let's head over. So first, it's important to get into some VA math because first of all, you need to know not only if you're at the 90% pay threshold, but you need to know the difference. There's your rating, which is specific. It could be 89%, it could be 85%, which is rounded up to 90. And then there's your pay threshold, which is every 10% increment. So a lot of individuals, a lot of veterans think that they're at 90% because they're getting 90% pay, but they're actually at 85. And let me show you how difficult that could be to make up the difference because of VA math. I'm going to spend a minute here explaining how this works because it's going to be crucial for those of us rated highly that want to get an increase. Let's say your current rating here, we are 90% disabled. This is going to be the disabled side of VA math. If we're 90% disabled, the VA is telling you, you know what? That means that you're 10% healthy, okay? 10% healthy. So if we add, let's say, a 40% VA rating, many people think that 40% plus 90% means 130%. No, to the VA, they're taking 40% of this 10% remainder, which is your healthy percentage, okay? So this doesn't matter. Well, your healthy percentage is what if 40% is factored into. So 40% of 10, let's get a 40% rating, equals 4%. If we have 4% plus the 90%, that means that you're at I call it the worst place, to be in VA ratings. That means you have a 94% rating. Guess what? If you went all the way up from 85% all the way up to 94, you still get paid the same at that 90% threshold. You need to be at 95 to get routed up. So what does this mean? If you're at 90% truly, not 89, not 88, if you are truly at 90%, we know that you're 10% healthy. So how do we get to 95, which is routed up to 100? We would need a 50% rating to do so. So that's very important. That could be a sleep apnea as of right now. That could be even migraines at its highest level, but that's what you need to get to that 100%. Now, once you know exactly how much more of a rating that you need, use VA disability calculators for this, or you can do some head math like we just showed. Now it's time to strategize. The very first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you've maximized what I call your low-hanging fruit. These are things that are your current ratings. Your current service-connected conditions are the easiest way to get increased because you don't have to fight the VA for acknowledging that they're actually connected to your service. Some good examples for this may be if you have a mental rating that's less than the 70% average. Maybe you have migraines, but you only rated 10% or maybe 30%, but they're having financial impacts on you. All these are things that, as you research your VA disabilities and how things are rated, you're really going to get the feel for, hey, you know what? I probably left 20% on the table here. You know what? I actually should be rated at 30% when the VA gave me 10. This is all valuable intel because you could do the head math to go ahead and project that if I file an optimized claim, if I do the things that I'm learning and I file the claim and I think it could go well, here's what I could realistically expect. Now, if that number to where you file, things go well, and that projected number still doesn't at least get you to 95%, at that point you can think twice about even filing because the risk to reward ratio may not make sense at this time. You really want to go ahead and have a bit of cushion, not only that, hey, it looks like I'm going to get to 95%, oftentimes you're going to want to have it to where, hey, it's looking like I might get to 95% even if they deny me for this, even if they deny me for that. I've been helping veterans with their VA ratings for years now, and it's almost so rare that every single claim goes exactly how you would want it to. There's almost always something that gets left on the table where, hey, you know what, they should have given me this and they didn't. That's why you want that buffer. The bottom line, if you see something that does need an increase, oftentimes a supplemental claim, applying for an increase is a good idea there. Now, moving on to the more difficult, and that's why you don't do it first, you do it second, the more difficult thing to get connected. This is where you could tackle secondary claims. This is where you can tackle maybe some presumptive conditions as well. If you have those, go ahead and watch my videos on presumptive conditions if that is not ringing a bell for you right now, because that's something that you definitely need to be searching for, because you need everything to get from 90% to 100%. Secondary claims are interesting because there are so many different combinations. Really, there's infinite combinations as long as your doctor agrees that this service-connected condition caused or aggravated this other condition, right? It could be anything. The doctor can say that, hey, I think your ringing in your ears caused your foot pain. Do I believe any doctor would say that? No, but the VA rules as of right now say that, hey, they have to take that into consideration. So really getting an accurate picture of your current service-connected ratings and what other conditions that you're experiencing, even if they're not diagnosed right now, you could say, hey, you know what? I've had these headaches, from maybe it's due to my neck pain. I've never really talked about this before. I never told anyone before. I've just, popped some Excedrin, what have you. At that point, it's worth considering, maybe I should get these diagnosed. Maybe I should go ahead and feel it out with my headache doctor and see if they think that it could be connected. At that point, bringing them a Nexus letter template, that's something that we specialize in at vaclaimsacademy.com, could really save you some time and effort and money from having to spend a lot of cash on a Nexus letter. Those are the things that you really want to start racking up and thinking creatively on. Most veterans, the bottom line is this, most veterans are not thinking outside of the box enough to really get that push from 90 to 100% because it's hard to make that connection or even admit that these conditions that you're already service connected for are having downstream effects. I say this all the time. Your body is not some floating pair of body parts. It's all connected, right? It's one thing affects the other. So acknowledging that and really getting after that, the secondary conditions can make all the difference. Now lastly, of course you want to do things like create your intent to file as soon as possible, right? Because especially if you get your increase from 90% to 100%, guys, that's well over $1,000 per month. So if you're waiting to do your intent to file until, hey, maybe I have more evidence, that could be a mistake because you want to go ahead and get that intent to file done so that that's the date for your back pay. Every month you get delayed, that's costing you and your household four figures. So get your intent to file done. But here's the thing. You also want to make sure, everyone should do this, but if you're highly rated, you definitely want to do this. Write a compelling personal statement for each condition you're filing. Make sure you do that because you can't afford to get nickel and dimed because that can make the difference to where, hey, you know what, if I got an extra 10% on my IBS claim, an extra 20%, that would have kept me from getting at 94%, and now I've done nothing. I've wasted 6 months. That would have put me to 95. Hey, that's 6 months worth of more than $1,000 per month. You do the math. So go ahead and maximize. Don't cut any corners if you're at 90% because you need every single inch to get to that 100% rating threshold. Fellow vets, it can be overwhelming, especially if you're sitting there and you have a lot of options and you're analyzing everything. My last piece of parting advice will be just get started. get the ball rolling, get that intent to file done. You'll be surprised at how quickly things resolve and make themselves clear as far as what path you should take. Go ahead and get it started, and that momentum will favor you. I hope that this video helped you. If it did, hit the like button. Definitely share this with a veteran who needs it. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.